I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind?
Don, thank you very much for joining us. Can you tell us a bit about yourself?
Well, first off, thank you to my favorite porn star for having me on. I really enjoy the product that you have. I feel extra special, just like one of my ladies. Who is Juan DeMarko in the business? Well, I got my start about 15 years ago. Very blessed to have been on, a big director's set, and being on a big director's set, got to meet a lot of people in the industry who eventually became directors, producers, magazine editors, the whole nine yards. Getting to be on that set and being a PA, I loved what I saw. It led me to reach out to work with performers who were there. Those performers, very, very blessed to still have them in my life as my porn family. They told me, hey, my writing was good enough to, in their eyes, be able to work for companies like Playboy North America back in the day when it still existed. Submitting my work to places like Hustler. It eventually led me to working for a lot of the companies within the business. I've written for XBiz, for AVN. I've been the editor for XCritic. And that led me to, when I seen that was something I was able to do, I said to myself, if I could do this, I can continue to push myself to higher limits. I said, you know what? I saw Miles Long. I see Chris Streams. I see Johnny Darko doing this. I think I can do it. And I think I can do it on that level with that type of pristine quality if I do my homework. It led me to a partnership with Miles Long, who I'm very blessed to say we have now had our third consecutive film nominated for an award. Our first two were nominated at AVN. This last one, When Girls Were Alone 3, has just been nominated for a Night Moves Award. Again, very proud to say everything that I've done in this business, I've literally progressed from a writer to a producer to my current state of what I do. I am now a publicist in the industry. I am running a publicity firm. We are 100% legit. We are licensed. We are LLC'd. We've put our money in the bank. And what I love doing now with this new venture is the 26 clients that I represent. I help them to grow their brand in every way possible, whether they are trying to meet content creators, whether they are trying to figure out how to make their marketing reach, go from state to state or global. I'm a guy who's always been pro performer since that very day I mentioned of being on set with a great director and great performers. Now what I do with DJD Media and DonJuanDeMarko.com is offer that same type of service and production quality to a performer, whether they're just starting or whether they are A-list veterans. I mean, the best example I can give, like I like to say, is DJD Media's Juan DeMarko's motto. We represent the best and the newest, whether it is MILF Performer of the Year Reagan Fox or it is Best New Starlet Hopeful Nominee Up-and-Coming Kelsey Kane. And every model in between. It doesn't matter shape, size, color, anything, you name it. We represent the ones who are hungry to get it done. And so far, we've had a lot of success doing it this year.
Cool. That was a brief introduction. 15 years. Okay, then. Can you tell us briefly how the industry's changed?
Oh, man. How has the industry changed in the last 15 years? If I, to tell the truth, it's become a lot more separate. I remember when I first got into the industry and we talked about that first shoot, which, like I said, had legendary performers, legendary directors. We all went out to dinner together. I was staying at one of the, cameraman's house, as was another performer. The next day, there was another shoot in Beverly Hills. We all drove there together, even though only two people were going to work. We waited for everybody to get off, and we picked them up, man. I mean, you might as well have called it like an episode of Beverly Hills 90210, because we did the same shit and we were doing the same exact thing. Nowadays, you don't have that togetherness, in my opinion. You don't have that family atmosphere. I mean, when I was on sets for the first time back in the day years ago, you know, the male talent, the female talent, whether it was boy, girl, girl, they were they literally like, oh yeah, let's sit down and talk. Let's find out what's going on. If we need to, you know, break the ice or get to know one another. I've been on sets within the last 3 years, and I was shocked by it. Where I kid you not, man, I won't name names, but one of my favorite stories of this last year is there was a big name performer. I mean, this gal is female performer of the year caliber. She's somebody everybody knows. She showed up to a set for a big name director. She had her own people. He never even saw her. She came out, she did her dialogue, she had her sex scene, and then she was gone. And this director literally tells me, I don't even think I got to say a fucking word to her because she left. That would have never happened 15 years ago. 15 years ago, whether it was Belladonna or, you know, whether it was Jewel Denial, the director was going to speak to people. So I mean, I think that's a lot of the things that have become with a lot of the world, but having things become distant that's the thing I think that's changed the most in the industry.
You think that's a consequence of directors losing their influence and the power being more now of the performer?
You know, I do think that, and I think it's something that stretches across to mainstream Hollywood. You know, when like me and my business partner Gavin Glass, we're both trained designers. He's a much more educated designer than I am. Like, he knows how to do animation, he knows how to do video editing. You know, 20 years ago when I was taught how to do it, it was some basics of Photoshop and standardized, you know, InDesign or things that you would work with Safari, Apple, you know, software to all the non-geeks out there. And it was something that you had to sit down and you had to know how to use it, or else you weren't going to be able to edit the film. You weren't going to be able to make a beautiful graphic for a naked porn star. Nowadays, you can literally log into your damn iPhone. These gals can make everything from these polished pictures to video edits that do angles and tell them where they want to piece the next piece of footage together. It's literally allowed them to, I mean, truthfully, I call it, they get to be little mini Steven Spielbergs because the software tells them how to do it. It shows them, it says, oh, how about you do this, or you do this, or you make a star wipe, or you do a clean slate edit, or you do a fade to black. And I think that has lessened the power of very great minds in the industry. I mean, best example, one of the guys that I was very fortunate to meet when I came in was Greg Dark. Greg Dark is also a man who shot mainstream horror movies. He was so powerful with the way that he made his films. Everybody wanted to work with him. Nowadays, if you really do your homework, you can do that with your damn phone, and you don't have to be like Greg would. Like, Greg ran a set where you were hustling and bustling, you were doing multiple takes. Porn stars knew that's what was to be expected. If he were to be sitting down now, I think people would run screaming for the hills because they wouldn't even know how to do multiple takes. And truthfully, they don't need to when you can run the same footage that you record over and over and over again. You know, it plays in a part where you're allowing a guy to literally have a movie studio in his bedroom and he never has to leave it. And when you do that, things become detached. So, you know, yes, in my long-winded way, that is exactly what's happened to the business.
Okay, I'm going to go through your Twitter profile now and ask you to break down some of your what's the word shall we say, hobbies, interests, work, shall we say. Okay, so we'll start with editor for the XCritic. What's involved with that?
Well, you know, when I was an editor for XCritic, I enjoyed getting to do that job. That was the first time that I was really given a company to help run with a wonderful guy named Cyber5. Jim Thorne, the publisher, he gave us headway to do what we needed to do. I was very proud with Cyber to build that company into something that we were known for the best porn star reviews. We were known for profiling the best performers in the industry. And that gave us access to get to know the big companies and not only get to know the marketing people, the people in post-production. It allowed me to get to build, a lot of relationships with performers. I got to meet Vicky Chase by doing this exact media soiree, and Vicky Chase, who's now a huge star, won multiple AVN Awards this last year. It was sitting down with an interview with her that I got to become friends with her. And getting to become friends with her, I got to know many people within Vixen Media who she was shooting with. And I've had that story go along with every company that I worked with. XCritic opened a lot of doors. They technically do not exist anymore. They're now a company that was merged with Fleshbot.com. And Fleshbot now is keeping up a lot of the same things that they used to do. Fleshbot now does reviews. They're doing a lot of cool blog spots as to, stylish, new, kind of getting up to the 2020s of sex and pop culture and kind of trying to merge those big things together. But XCritic is what gave it all the first start, man. I like to say that will always be a fond memory of Juan DeMarko's.
Good. So we got the XRCO Awards. Was that pronounced right?
Oh, yeah, XRCO, the X-Rated Critic Awards.
Yes, committee member. What's involved with that?
Well, XRC Awards, I'm something I'm very proud to be a part of. The X-Rated Critics organization is a group of us writers and critics. Many of us there's a bunch of them who are right now in Los Angeles at the AVN house party, where they're getting to meet a lot of the new starlets and the big names of the big movies who are going to be coming out for awards season. What XRCO does, being a committee member with them, we get to look at all the films that are out there on the market. We will get them submitted by, publication people, production companies, marketing people, critics, the whole 9 yards. And us committee members, we sit down for a month-and-a-half time period. We look at all the people that we, first of all, want to nominate or we feel that are worthy to win Best Actor, Female Performer of the Year, Best New Starlet, Best New Male Performer, but then also the things like Grand Reel, Best Gonzo Production, Best Girl Film. It is an awards organization that's been going for many years, founded a long time ago. And again, it's an industry-only event that's kind of designed to pay homage to those people who are really doing a great job in the industry. And again, after we do nominations, we have our awards time where we take a look at all the videos that are given to us by all these companies and people. And then we get to pick out who's worthy and have a nice little soiree of about 15 to 20 writers. And we say, hey, this person's worth the award, or maybe this person isn't. And that's something I've always loved doing at every level, no matter who it is, because I really love showing the public that it takes a lot to be a porn star. Most people think that you're only having sex and it's about how you can do this, or you can flip up on your head and do the splits. Yeah, the physicality is one thing, but for you to be able to act, for you to be able to perform, for you to be able to change your pace and be able to handle a lot of situations, it takes a talented artist. And that's no bullshit on my part or me blowing smoke up anyone's butt to make them, look better than what they are. And I take pride in being able to reward the performers for that. No matter what any performer will say or what they think of awards, the one thing I'm here to say is there's a lot that goes into picking them. And there's a lot of people out there who put a lot of time and effort to make sure that those people get rewarded for the things they do. And I am very, very proud to be one of the committee members who helps select those every year.
Okay. Next, we've got AVN Awards voter.
Yes. Same thing as XRCO. With AVN, I have for a long time period been a part of their committee as well, where just like XRCO, it's the same thing, except this is the real big one. Not saying that XRCO is something failed in comparison, but when the expo happens every year in January, from about September through December, there's a large time period where we get to see whose films are out there, what performers, same thing with multiple categories. It's just a lot more extensive. And the thing I love about AVNs is AVN treats you to this amazing, wonderful event. For all the years I'd been doing it, they used to, way back in the day, fly you in. You'd get to be treated just like a performer. You get to be seated right there, Grand Central Station, I would call it, to be watching all these great performances of like rap stars, rock stars, when they come on for the awards event themselves. You get to sit on the floor with all these beautiful porn stars, and you get to see the awards in person, on top of being a guy that votes for it and helps those awards come to fruition. AVN, I just always like to say, is just the top notch of all the committees I work with and I vote for. AVNs, I will of course say, hands above the rest. It's just, they know how to put on a product. They still put on a great show. And I'm looking forward to this one, which is returning to the Virgin, which is basically the remodeled Hard Rock Hotel. It's coming back to where it originally began years ago. So I'm really looking forward to this year's more so than any other.
So I'll probably get myself in trouble for saying this. So you're leaving the tent and going back to the hotel.
You know what? We sure are. What I'll say, and again, it's funny. I know a couple of the AVN people are going to be like, "God damn it, Don." This year when they had it out in that events building tent, it was cool to actually have everybody in the same vicinity. Now that they're going to be in the Virgin, I think it's going to be the same thing again. You're going to have more fans able to kind of be in a more centralized location. And I like those kinds of locations like the Virgin, because I thought Resorts World was a little bit too family friendly. And I mean, we're an adult, we're adult industry. We need it to be at adults. And I think more adult fans are going to come out in abundance at the Virgin and say, I'm going to dress like a submissive and my ass hanging out and some leather pants. When you see more of that, you see a more successful convention, and you see people having a lot more fun. So, bring out those assless chaps.
What's the chain hotel called again?
The Virgin Hotel.
Very appropriate.
Very.
Okay, so I'll save the best till last. DJD Media.
Yes. DJD Media. You know what I am turning this into the future. If you were to go to donjuandemarco.com, it is right now a website that speaks about the things that I offer. My PR and my being a publicist, those types of referrals, systems, analytics, strategies, and within my own portfolio of what I do and who I represent. But what DJD Media is eventually going to be is we're beginning the stages where it will be a production company. I've like I said, I've been lucky to shoot a few of them with some great people in the industry. Now that this portion of my business is really starting to become successful, soon you are going to get to see feature films from DJD Media. You're going to get to see me with my directing partner, Gavin Glass. We call ourselves the Tubby Brothers. And the reason we call ourselves the Tubby Brothers, we are looking to become a Coen Brothers version of film directors within the industry. But what's going to make DJD Media a little bit different comparative to, what you see out there in the market, the Jules Jordans, the Adult Times. DJD Media is going to be a platform that's built for our big features, but with all of the clients that I represent, We're going to be having gonzo scenes. We're going to be bringing out fetish with the performers I represent in the fetish department. It's going to be a total solutions website and production company that you're going to be able to go to one or go to the other. You're going to have access to everything because, without shooting myself in the foot or then putting that bloody stump in my mouth, there's a nice little visual for you. I want to bring something new and some new incentives to the porn world to be able to give them a reason to come to my website and say, hey, I know we're in the realm of the tube sites. We're in the realm of OnlyFans. People want to see something different. And that is what DJD Media is going to be in the future. As a matter of fact, I got some big stuff coming up here on January 2025. I can't tell you who is all involved in it, but the people I can tell you who are going to be there and are going to be some of the front runners are going to be Kelsey Kane. They're going to be Mindy Mink and a whole slew of superstar performers being paired with people you've never seen them paired before. And that's how we're going to launch DJD Media here. The future of porn is what we're hoping for.
Sounds good. What would you change about the adult industry?
That's a very good question. What would I change about the adult industry? If I would say one thing I would change about it more so than anything is I would ensure that people are being taught some. Well, here, no, let me. This is what I think should be changed about the industry. There should be more people looking to help one another. The thing that kills this industry so much is that whether it's a performer, whether it's a publicist, whether it's a producer, whether it's a director, the way the old style used to be good, like I talked about, was the camaraderie. Now we have a person who walks on set, and the minute they see another person, they are threatened, and it's let's stab them in the back. But more so than that, they don't teach anybody anything. And self-regulation has always been something very critical for this industry. And what we never seem to do in today's industry is teach a performer how to cross the landscape. We don't teach a director how to deal with certain types of personalities. We don't teach a PA or a sound person that this may be a day where you're going to spend 8.5 hours on set. You need to stomach it and get going because this is a part of the industry. This is a part of Hollywood. This is a part of how we do things. And because we're not informing people, because we're not sharing knowledge with one another, there are more people who literally I have seen people in this industry, man, who they are 4-year veterans. They are people who have been with the greatest agent or agencies in the world. And then it's time for them to go out on their own, and they don't know how to do anything. They don't know how to create an LLC. They don't know how to operate a camera. They don't know how to hire somebody properly to build a website for them. And it doesn't matter if you're getting it built in India or you're getting it built in Florida. They don't have that knowledge. And that is what I wish would change more than anything. And yes, to sound cheesy as hell, that's what I hope that Juan DeMarko, DJD Media, at least on the side of being a true blue publicist, I hope that now that I'm doing this publicly, that I can help people to do that more, and that it rubs off on them, that they see that, you know what, I'm going to show this to the next person. Hey, they may not be the most talkative person on set, but let's help them. Because truthfully, that would send this industry back to the place it used to be when the Jenna Jamesons of the world and the Blondages and Janines and Jewel Denials were here, because it was the fact that all those gals knew the score and knew what to do that sent our marketing to another stratosphere. And hopefully that's what I'm able to do for a shameless plug.
Another one. Who within the adult industry would you like to nominate to answer these questions?
What was the question again? I'm sorry.
Who within the adult industry would you like to nominate to answer these questions?
You know who else besides someone in the adult? I'll tell you this. The other industry that I love a lot would be, the wrestling industry. I love professional wrestling. I think people who give up their bodies to entertain people, they are just the best of the best. If I'd say somebody like Teddy Hart, even maybe somebody like Sammy Guevara, people who really, I would love to have them answer those types of questions because, I mean, not only they're guys that I love, guys that I know, but they are people who they've given up their bodies, their families have given up their lives for the business they're in. And I think only two types of people are worthy enough to answer those types of questions, or worthy enough to be, in my opinion, be placed on a hot seat like this, because they've given up so much for something that they love. And wrestling fans and porn fans are so similar, and porn stars and wrestlers are two types of artists who they love to give to their fans, and so much so that they give everything that they love, give everything that they are. So yes, I would love to have either one of those guys sit down and answer questions in that order, man. That would be something very cool.
Cool. All right. Thank you very much for doing the interview.
I appreciate it, Al. It's been a solid. I really enjoyed this, brother.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind?